this is just going to happen.
He makes cameos
I'm sure.
in many of my videos.
Yeah. I am a life coach and a business coach, and I also am, so funny thing is I actually started out when I wanted to start digging into things, focusing on short-term handicapped accessible rentals, which
Awesome.
There's a huge story behind that. It's funny how that's what I started, that was my focus, and then through a series of events ended up seeing like, no, you're supposed to be doing the life coaching, business coaching thing first in order to leverage financially in order to do the other aspect.
So for me, like when I realized I should be a coach, like I started to notice that I was like doing that work like on accident. Did it feel like you were just finding yourself falling into that space?
Absolutely. And I mean, I've always been like that anyway, because I'm the oldest of 7, significantly older. So like I was always like in that mom position, but also like, you know, would always rally the troops and was in management positions a lot. So I was just always mama bear and big sister, and just found myself, you know, leading everybody anyway, but also providing a shoulder for everybody. I'm so used to doing it just naturally on a day-to-day basis that now that it's my livelihood, it's hard not to give it away. So it's hard to find that balance between like, this is what I do and here's a sneak peek, but if you really want the goods, like, you have to hire me.
Yeah.
So that's been a hard thing to like figure out where that balance is for sure.
Especially with like close friends and family.
Absolutely. Oh, you're gonna have to speak in front of people in order to scale? All right, let's get comfy with that now, because that doesn't sit too good. Stuff like that.
That actually is why one of the reasons I started my YouTube channel. Yeah. Was because like I knew that it wasn't even that I wanted, it was just like, you're headed in a direction where you're going to have a lot more visibility. Just like you're launching a book, you're doing a TED Talk, like these things mean you're going to be very visible and it's only going to keep going. And I was like, I need to knock myself out of the nest now and get used to it. When you're shown the path.
Yeah, like who are you to stay small?
I talk about that in, you know, so I'm in the middle of writing my second book, which is basically like taking what I did, my first book, and making it into a blueprint for other entrepreneurs. Because like I just kind of made my own path. The book's called Forge Your Own Way. I forged my own way and just like made it up as I went. And so I say, okay, like this is how you can do freaking anything and make it happen. And one of the most critical things that I have found in entrepreneurship, in life, and everything is that like you have to have a bench of people, like you know, absolutely. Like in sports, like you have to have a team that backs you up, and they don't have to be like a board of directors or anything that professional, but the people who can be there, who are maybe a little ahead of where you're going, or like they get where you're going, and so that they can reflect back on you, just like you said, like if you need that moment of check-in, or like somebody who you can like basically like flop, you know what I mean? You flop your energy and just like, I'm done. Can you just like be there?
I am so grateful and blessed because I've done a lot of hard work to make sure that I have like eliminated pretty much all the drama in my life. So no dramatic friends, no dramatic energies, no dramatic circumstances, like and not only then like come to a place where I'm really at peace inside too. So it's amazing because even when those times are tough and something happens, which I mean over the last week has definitely been a test of that, to just be like, it's gonna be okay. Like I don't have to overthink this. Like everything's always okay. Whatever needs to show up is gonna show up, but that includes the people in the circle too. So like you can say the hard thing, this is what I'm going through, this sucks right now, and just like release it when you say it, and they're there to hold that space for you too. But with the leveling up and stuff too, like you need all different dynamics. Like you need the people, you know, your core group that you started with, you need the people that are more of the professional mind, you need the people that are gonna like be at that upper level and continue to pull you up too, because in order to think bigger, like you have to know what that looks like. And my son, like I've taught him to be one of my team players, you know, and it's been amazing, and he's 14, so that's saying something because there's a lot going on at 14, but he's my guy. Like I tell him what I'm doing and what I need to do and what I need for him, and he's all in, and the same with my boyfriend too. So it's amazing.
I've heard actually from a lot of entrepreneurs who happen to be parents that like the ones that choose to be open and explain what's going on with their children, like depending on their age, you know, like you only give so much depending, but like they have found that when they open that door of communication and actually explain what's going on, not just like I have to do this, but like why, that they really get on board.
Like one of the things that came up recently for us is probably, I don't know, like 2 months ago, he was really giving me some pushback around the house and was just like not pulling his weight, and I did the thing where I just jumped off the cliff. Like I quit it wasn't a 9 to 5, but I had a salary position. I worked from home, like it was super comfy, and I've been knowing for like probably 6 months before I quit that I needed to leave, but it was just so comfy. I was like, maybe, and just kept waiting.
That's hard.
Yeah.
The comfort is the hardest part of like, oh my God, when I get comfortable, I get really nervous.
Yeah. So I just decided I had to do it, knew it was time, and did it, but didn't know I didn't have anything lined up. I didn't, I was just starting out as a coach, so it was like I don't have this huge clientele that's going to be able to immediately replace everything that I have already. So I mean, it was scary, but I just knew I was supposed to do it. And when Sean was pushing back really hard one day, I was like, dude, this is the deal. This is what I'm going to do. And you're here, and you can either like keep creating all this drama by not pulling your weight and stressing me out because I'm trying to do all these things right now and I have no idea what it looks like, or you can just help and do what you're supposed to do and do what I ask you. And he was immediately invested. He like started firing off questions about like what that looks like and how am I going to do it, and I was just like,
that's amazing.
Yeah, and he was just all in. And now like when I have a rough day or a rough week, he'll be like, it's easy to just say this is what it was and this is what it's gonna be and it's okay. And he's like, all right, cool. And like financially, everything's still all over the place now. So I'm just like, there's gonna be some tough times, and I know we're used to being comfortable, but I just need to let you know I'm doing what I can. It's gonna be okay. I don't know how long it's gonna take, but I know it's gonna happen. And he's like, cool. So yeah, it's amazing.
Just in awe.
Yeah.
That's really... And that was only a couple months ago?
Yeah, that was just a couple of months ago.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's so exciting.
Yeah, very much so.
Do you keep a vision board?
I do and I don't. I do Pinterest a lot, and I'm a very visual person myself, and I also hold myself very accountable. So like as soon as I am aware of a want or a purpose or whatever, just like... No, I have to do it, just immediately start doing it. So yeah, I put a lot of stuff on Pinterest, private boards, and then I also, have you heard of Sarah Centrello?
I don't think so, no. I think I actually know what that phone call is, and it's just like an automatic, your order is ready thing. I'm like,
right.
Okay. Thanks right in the middle of the video, guys.
Right. She is a huge vision board, like I don't even know. I found her, so when I was still looking for resources out, not close to home, but
absolutely.
out. My big lady is Lori Harder, and she's actually from Marquette, Michigan, which I had no idea when I started listening to her. But she's amazing, and I relate to her for so many reasons. Like, she has a very religious background, upbringing. She's from Michigan. She doesn't have formal education, but she is just so transparent and real and like fun and high energy, and just says all the things, the good, the bad, but just with this amazing like everything's gonna be okay type of voice. Wow. And I found so many different resources through her that I'm just like, yes, more. And Sarah Centrello was one, and she actually travels the world doing vision board like seminars. So yeah, I've read her book a couple of times.
What's it called?
Oh, of course.
Sorry.
I can't remember the name. It just came out a few months ago, I want to say.
Okay. Mine is this combination of like kind of more like mantras, like things I'm trying to continue to learn into or grow into. It's next to my bed, so I just like wake up and go to sleep to that.
I just ordered, I can't remember any names right now. I want to say it's Map Your Journey, but Danielle Laporte.
Yeah, I know her. Yeah.
Yeah, so I just started
actually like friends with her.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've read one of her other books, and then I just ordered, I think it's called Map Your Journey, and it was so interesting. Like, I'm only a few pages in, and I'm already like attracting, it's basically like attracting whatever it is that you're envisioning, but by feeling
Yeah.
As opposed to what it looks like. And I was like, I
just watched...
have never thought about that.
Oh, what's his name? Oh, the internet is going to be so mad at me too because like it was on YouTube. He's a shark on Shark Tank.
That's not going to help me.
Damn it. But yeah, so he's an entrepreneur and he's a shark on Shark Tank now. But so he made a video about like manifesting. And he was like, look, like I used to think it was bullshit. And then I got like further into it and then I was like, but it's not, like I believe this now, but it's not working. It's not working, right? And what he said in the video, like the point of the video was like, when things shifted for him, and everybody's different just like you said.
Oh yeah.
But like what shifted for him was when he started working on his vision right before bed, like in the last hour. And like you said, had the emotion attached. So he's like, not only did I envision like what my plan is and what I want to see for my life, but then I also felt into it because he explains, I like how he put this. He said like, emotion is energy, in motion, emotion. I was like, blah, blah, that's so easy.
Right,
but that's, you know, and if you think about the molecular level, like we're all vibrating, there's atoms and neurons and all kinds of stuff happening. And they energize so well around emotion in general. Yeah. So that was his big point, was like clear and it's funny because I'm like literally watching this video as like my wind down to go to bed, and I'm like, oh, damn it. He's like, don't watch YouTube, and I'm like, what?
Right. I am obsessed with Gabor Mate. I think he's a Hungarian psychiatrist, psychologist. And some of my niches, my big niches that are very particular to myself are post-death acclimation and caregiver restoration. So I started doing some research behind these things, stumbled on him, absolutely love him because he's got this very dry way of speaking, but his injected humor is hilarious to me. But he is so intuitive about so many different things and definitely very woo-woo, especially for his generation. So to give you a little background with that, this is all personal experience too. Like, I don't have any formal education behind this. I don't have any certifications. And just in talking to more and more people, have realized that that's not even necessary.
It's not.
And it's such a new thing anyway. Like, thank God nobody's saying you have to do it this way yet.
No.
So
the ICF, like they're thinking like eventually certifications for coaches is going to be like more regulated. Yeah. But like it's not now, and so we have so much time to figure out like what does it mean and what does it look like, and then get a certification when you have the time, when you have the money. Like don't go into debt for it.
Right.
You need to right now.
So what happened with me was 6 years ago, 12 years ago, my little brother, ended up getting in an accident and became a quadriplegic. So he ties into both of the niches. A lot of everything, including the short-term handicapped accessible rentals, all stem from like this, like what happened with him.
Yeah, and seeing how equipped our society is to,
accommodate them and help them, support them mentally. And he was in the military too, so like he had all that going together. So he got in the accident, became a quadriplegic, and ended up going in and out of facilities, and then finally ended up getting into his own home here. He bought a house here. He had everything renovated so that it's completely accessible for him. He was in a motorized wheelchair by the time he got to that house. And then from the time he got in the accident until the time he passed was 6 years. And then when he did pass, he was having phantom pains, and the weekend he passed, he had hypothermia and he had a UTI. So there was so much discomfort on top of the fact that he was so charismatic and energetic and a family guy and just wanted to be that dad and that uncle. And then once the accident happened, like you could just see that slip from him. So like the purpose element just went, like it just wasn't there. So when he passed, he was in a really, really good, or we were in a really good space. And we had talked about everything you can imagine. Yeah, sure. So I was very at peace with what happened and the whole situation. So fast track ahead another year, and I actually, in the meantime, like before my brother passed away, had met somebody I was going to spend the rest of my life with. And on the exact same day, a year later, he passed away. So going through both of those experiences and then having to find for myself, because so many people think you should grieve a certain way, or if there's family involved, you know, like with my brother, everybody's going through their own process of grieving. It's not one size fits all for the person or for the situation, which is something that I really was enlightened by during those two passings. Just learning the difference between those two grieving processes and trying to find the support for that. Like, but you grieved this way last time, so why aren't you grieving this way this time? And them not knowing how to support me and then having to find that support, that was hard. So I just want to inspire people, like, and it's not always going to be obviously a romantic relationship where they lose somebody or a sibling, but to inspire them, like, you can get through it. It doesn't have to meet anybody's standards. You're the one that gets to choose what that looks like. You're the one that gets to build the support system you want. You're the one that gets to tell people what you need it to look like for you. And tell them when it is and isn't okay, whatever it is they're doing in order to support you, and you can thrive.
As far as like what our purposes in the world, and so we have our clients, and so then we're always taking in more information in our area, and so like I'm always like digesting more business books.
So with a short-term handicap rentals, what that looks like is somebody gets in an accident, they need modifications done to their home, they need to stay someplace else while their home is being modified, and then maybe they get into a hotel, or maybe they get into a house or an apartment or something that kind of suits their needs in the meantime. So not only are you going through this physically and emotionally traumatic event, and you're already wrestling with that, but now all of a sudden you're thrust into an environment where you don't feel at home, you're not in your own space in your body, you're not in your own space in your environment.
No, you can't nest.
And that's how you're starting your recovery process. I would do the rentals and manage them, but the energy of the home would be home away from home.
Because you're talking about disrupting not just like one person's life.
Yeah, the entire circle. That's awesome. Yeah.
I love that. And especially around here too, there's
a huge medical community here, and nobody's meeting that need. So I'm like, and then the funny thing is that all transpired from when my brother passed away, something that was said from one of the case managers he was working with. It was completely accidental conversation, but not accidental at all. But she thought she had a conversation with me about it before, and we hadn't had it, and I was like, wait, what are you talking about? And she was like,
so there's a message
that wasn't you. Yeah. And I was like, no, but tell me more. And ever since she told me, like, and that was 6 years ago, that's been on the back of my brain. And now it's just like, it's time.
I work so hard to impart, especially on people who want to do something that's totally, you know, out of left field, never been done before, what I call audacious. Like, you will get what you need, and you actually probably already have a lot of it, but you don't realize it. But, like, this wouldn't have come to you if you weren't exactly the right person to make it happen. And you either have what you need in the way of, like, you've had enough exposure. If you've had enough exposure to have the idea, you've had enough exposure to know at least what you're going to need to do next and find those resources. If you don't already have them, but chances are you probably do, and you don't realize it. I just didn't realize that when I was starting work on my book. And when I get this lightning strike of like, no, you're going to drive across the country and you're going to interview a bunch of strangers who are like decades and decades and decades older than you. And you don't have the funding for you, so you're going to do a Kickstarter and figure that out. You've never done that before, so you're just going to have to figure, and this is going to be your first published book, so like, you know.
You're just going to do all the things right now, and don't worry about it, just get to work.
Just do it. And so I was just like, and I did, but I didn't have a coach. I had a very small community of entrepreneurs, and they were only people who were local. I didn't know how to look. And plus, the lightning strike was in early 2015. So like the internet and like... all of this was still yet. Like if it's amazing what's happened even in the coaching world over the past 4 or 5 years. Like it's just massive shifts of awareness across the country. Like pretty much now coaching is like... like we all know what coaching
that's
is.
The thing.
So back then it wasn't even a thing. When I started my business in 2012, like it wasn't a thing.
See, and that's funny that you say 2012, because I was literally just thinking so much material that I've read lately by all these woo-woo people about the juju and everything else. they have been vibing since 2012. Like, for whatever reason, 2012 was just that year. Like, before the awareness was there, that's when everything was like coming out.
Interesting. Actually, when I bought my house too, and I signed the papers, and I'm thinking to myself, it was May, and I'm like, am I buying my house and then the world's gonna end, and I just like made such a terrible investment?
Right.
Like, I literally thought, but if the world ends, then like it doesn't matter where your money went. I might think it, but literally I was kind of just like waiting, hoping that it was gonna be okay, and obviously it's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, now looking back, I can see I had 100% of everything what I needed.
Absolutely.
I had the exact right people in my life. I knew how to find the resources when I didn't have them. It just like all came together. But when you're looking at it and you're like, what do you want me to do?
Right.
It feels
crazy. But like, you stop questioning, you stop trying to figure out how, you do what you know is right, you pay attention to that. More than anything, just pay attention to whatever it is that feels right, and just keep doing more than that. And if you feel like you're supposed to shift. Like, it doesn't have to look like that the entire way through, but things just kept showing up and showing up and showing up and showing up, and I was like, obviously I'm doing whatever I'm supposed to, so I'm just gonna keep like asking for crazy stuff and expecting it to show up, because it's already happening.
But yeah, I like to tell people, like you just like follow the breadcrumbs. Yeah. Like, because you're gonna get signs all through the way, and like you said, like you're getting so many signals that you're on the right path. And so sure, it's scary, and sure, sometimes it's hard. Like there's no such thing as an easy way.
There's not just gonna be like, oh, this is so easy. No. Ever.
No, absolutely. There's days where you're scared shitless. There's days where you're like, God damn it, what the frick is going on? Like, you just bonkers.
You just gotta trust, And the interesting thing with signs too, so there's so many pieces like you were talking about, like where you're just channeling like the resources, and whatever tools need to show up, they show up when they're supposed to. So one of the things that I read a few months ago was something, and I think it was right after I read the other thing. So the first thing I read was ROI. Everybody thinks return on investment. Yeah. Return on implementation. Because you can invest a lot, but if you're not like taking action, where does it go? Totally. And I come from, my dad's a huge procrastinator. Sorry, Dad. But he's a huge procrastinator, and I had developed that trait as well. And it just got to the point where like somebody called me on my bullshit one time with it, and I was like, they're absolutely right. Like, I feel like I'm doing the things all the time, but a lot of time it's busy work, or I'm just finding something else to do instead of doing it. Yeah. And so I was just like, as soon as I heard return on implementation, I was like, rest of my life, that's what I'm basing this on.
Because the word investment should include time and energy. Yeah. But we don't think about it that way. And it really is like, just because you threw money at it doesn't mean that it's done.
But when you say return on implementation and then you throw in the asking and the manifesting, like, oh, okay, so like I still have to be doing the thing and just paying attention to what shows up and where you need to pivot, but all these things work together. And this was one of the books I read, and I can't remember who, but she was saying 17 seconds. So like when you have that idea, when you have that thing that like all of a sudden just hits you like a lightning bolt, and you start second guessing as a human, as a woman, as a whatever it is, a Christian, like, like that's uncomfortable. You have 17 seconds to basically implement that before you talk yourself out of it.
So I try to at least capture it. Like, because I'm just like, I can't pivot so many times throughout the day, but at the same time, like if it's there, I do know if I don't take action, at least to capture it, you know, write it down in my bullet journal, or put it on the list for my assistant, like where it needs to go, it will get forgotten.
Yeah, whatever idea comes up in mind to support that adventure, those are the things really where it's like, okay, 17 seconds, this crazy idea just popped into my head, you just gotta ask or do or whatever it is.
And take the next step. I started laughing because I love that joke of the guy drowning, and he's like, God save me, God save me, and a boat goes by, and he's like, get in the boat. Right. Like, no, God's gonna save me, save me, and then a ship goes by, and then a log goes by, and he's like, God's gonna save me. He gets to heaven, and God's like, what the fuck? Yeah. I sent you all the things you needed in order to be saved.
Yep.
So you have
no implementation.
Right, yeah, exactly.
That flew by.
Yeah. You wanna be done?
I don't care.
I'm loving it.